She never said good-bye, but her silence kept screaming inside him, louder than every promise they once whispered beneath city lights. The nights in Seattle always carried a certain kind of cold, the kind that clung to your skin even after you stepped into the warm light of a small apartment. For Aidan, the cold didn't come from the weather. It came from the empty side of the sofa, the untouched coffee mug, the quietness that used to be filled with Lena's soft humming whenever she edited her photos late at night. Their love had always been imperfect, almost fragile, built on dreams stitched together and promises whispered in the dark. And yet, somehow, it felt like the only thing in this world that made sense. They met 4 years ago in a tiny art cafe near Capitol Hill, where Lena sat by the window sketching strangers while rain slid down the glass. She had this way of looking at life, not as it was, but as it could have been. Aidan fell for her long before he realized he was falling. She was sunlight in every storm. She was laughter in the middle of the world's silence. But love, as gentle as it begins, carries its own storms too. Their fights were never loud. They were quiet things, miss. Understood messages, delayed replies, tired voices at 2 a.m., and the unspoken fear of losing each other. Aidan worked long hours at a logistics firm, trying to build a future stable enough for the both of them. Lena chased her photography dreams, wandering through cities, capturing hearts of strangers with her lens while her own slowly cracked. The distance wasn't measured in miles. It was measured in the number of times Aidan came home late to find her already asleep, or the morning she woke up alone to a cold bed. They loved each other, yes, but love alone doesn't fix what two tired souls avoid speaking about. The last night she stayed, the rain was relentless. Aidan still remembered the sound of droplets hitting the window like 1,000 tiny footsteps running away. Lena stood by that same window where they had once laughed, argued, planned, and forgiven. She looked at him with eyes that were too sad to belong to someone so young, someone who once dreamed in colors brighter than sunsets. "I don't think you see me anymore," she said, not as anger, but as truth. He wanted to say he did. God, he wanted to say everything he never said. How he noticed every new freckle, every shift in her smile, every tremble in her voice when she tried to pretend she wasn't hurting. But words locked themselves somewhere inside him, frozen in a place fear had built. "I need to breathe again, Aidan," she whispered, and I think we forgot how to breathe together. She left without a slammed door, without a dramatic goodbye, without a promise to return. She just left like some stories do, quietly, painfully, permanently. Now, months later, Aidan still walked through Seattle's crowded streets, searching for a shadow that looked like her, a voice that echoed hers, a smile that carried her softness. He replayed memories like a film only he remembered. He knew she wasn't coming back, but healing wasn't the same as accepting. Some loves break loudly in silence. Some goodbyes are given without ever being spoken. And yet, in every empty room, in every untouched cup, in the quiet corners of his life, she was still there. 3 weeks after she left Seattle, Lena found herself in a small village near Asheville, a place surrounded by soft mountains and rivers that moved like forgotten lullabies. She had taken her camera, her backpack, and the pieces of her heart she could carry. The rest she unknowingly left with Aidan. Every morning she walked through dirt paths bordered by wildflowers, capturing faces, stories, and the quiet beauty of ordinary life. The villagers were warm, welcoming in a way that didn't demand explanations. One of them, Mara, a kind middle-aged woman with silver hair and calm eyes, often invited Lena for tea. "You're running from something," Mara would say kindly. "Or someone," Lena would smile, not out of joy, but out of exhaustion. "Maybe from myself," she whispered once, surprising herself with the honesty of it. She missed Aidan more than she allowed herself to admit. She missed how he held her when the world felt too heavy. She missed the way he pretended not to notice her watching him, even though he always did. She missed their little universe built in the cracks of real life. But love, when suffocated, starts to collapse inward, and she was scared she'd become a ghost waiting for someone who no longer had the time or space to hear her heart breaking. Yet every photograph she captured felt like a conversation with him. She saw Aidan in the quiet landscapes, the foggy mornings, the lonely wooden fences, the sunsets that painted the sky in muted gold. She carried him in every frame because, truthfully, she never knew how to let go of someone who had once felt like home. One evening, while sitting by a riverbank, she met Elias, a traveler with a notebook full of unfinished poems. He wasn't a replacement for Aidan, nor a distraction. He was simply another wandering soul. They talked about dreams, fears, the feelings people avoid naming. He looked at her and said, "You love someone who doesn't know how to keep you." She didn't deny it, because the truth was too heavy to hide. Back in Seattle, Aidan finally opened the drawer where Lena kept her unfinished sketches. He looked at them the way someone looks at a final goodbye. He realized then that love wasn't just about staying, it was about showing up. Something he had failed at. One day he packed his bag and boarded a flight to Asheville, following the last pin location from the photos she posted. Not to force her back, not to apologize, but to finally tell her everything he should have said before silence took over. When he arrived and saw her by the river, the world softened. She didn't run to him. She didn't collapse crying. She just looked at him with the same eyes that once held the entire future. "Aidan," she whispered. "Lena, I'm sorry I made you feel unseen." She closed her eyes. A tear slipped. "I didn't want us to break." "I know," he said, voice shaking, "but I want to fix what I broke. Only if you still want to breathe beside me again." The river kept flowing. The wind kept whispering. Their hearts, once broken, finally began to speak. Sometimes love doesn't end, it pauses until both hearts are brave again.